welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do a flip through of my current 2023 bullet journal. This bullet journal is a Leuchtturm 1917 A5 size dot grid journal in the color forest green. This is their classic paper, so it's 80 GSM, so it has over 200 pages. I tend to get 6 months out of each bullet journal, so this particular journal I have been in since July of 2023, and it's taking me through December of this year, 2023. If you listen to the Pen Addict podcast, this may make you laugh. I wrote, if you write on this page, you're a monster. If you know, you know. So then it goes into my index. I don't index every single page of my journal. If it is a page related to the month, like daily log, monthly habit tracker, or like monthly log pages, I just put that all under the category of the month. But any custom collection, I do write down here. So you can tell I hardly ever, I really only ever use like one page for my index, but I like having the space for two. So then it just has 2023 part 2 written here. And then I go into my future log. My future log has been the same style for years. I use a 2-column layout and I write the month up top, but I also write a mini calendar here. I know it's time consuming, but there are stamps and stickers available that could speed that process up. And I find it really helpful to have an eagle eye view of the month in general so that I can tell what day is what date and things like that. After the mini calendar, I just have a blank space and I go ahead and I pre-fill in birthdays and national holidays, but then events, I just kind of fill them in as they go. So because of that, things tend to be in non-chronological order. I know that some people like to list out all of the days, but then what happens for me is that if I have more than one item per day, I don't like the look or the way that you have to squeeze that into one line. And so this has been working for me. But because it's not in chronological order, you could definitely double book yourself, if you're not careful. So what I've done is I use a dot marker. I use a dot marker to mark any days that have an event on it so that I don't double book myself, and then I'll highlight any vacations. Once I get through the future log of 6 months for the journal, I give myself some room for, future events even past that time. So in this case, December, I knew was going to be the last month of this journal. So then I gave myself a full page for 2024 events, and I just kind of dump them here, and then I'll transfer these over to my new 2024 bullet journal when I set it up. After my future log, I start a few custom collections that I always set up at the beginning of a new journal. I have used a circle sticker to kind of use as a tab, kind of work like a tab. I doubled it up and I let it kind of extend off the page just a little tiny bit to use as a tab so that I could find these custom collections easy throughout the year. So the first custom collection I always set up in my journal is an order tracker. It is pretty basic. It has the date, the items, and then a space for me to check it off when it arrives. So this spread serves two purposes. It allows me obviously to track packages that are coming to me and make sure that I get them, but also it's a nice way to kind of keep track for yourself how much you're ordering throughout the year. And I gotta say, whether it is due to this spread or not, throughout the years I find myself needing less and less space. So this 6 months, I haven't even filled up one page. I don't include things like grocery orders though, because that would take up several pages. After that, speaking of groceries, is my grocery spread. I swear I get the most questions about this spread, and it is so much more simple than I think it looks. I literally just write the word groceries up top and I put a bunch of check boxes. I just do check boxes because it looks nice, but you could certainly just skip that. I just add in any groceries that we need throughout the week and I'll just write it here. Instead of like a post-it note or like a scratch sheet of paper, I'll just write it in my journal. So this gets filled up kind of like throughout the year, little by little, or throughout these 6 months rather, little by little. And then what happens is before I go grocery shopping, I just take my phone and I take a picture of the part of the list that isn't checked off yet. Like, it's really that simple, but it is a spread that I consistently use in all of my journals. When I run out of space, I just, wherever I am in this journal, I'll just flip the page and I'll just create a new grocery spread. And I will index it here so that I can find it. So I have another grocery spread on page 144 as well. After my grocery spread are notes pages for my kids. I always set these up because I find it helpful to have one spot to reference anything about my children with their specialist appointments, doctor's appointments, school meetings, anything like that. So I will, of course, take notes in my daily log, but if it's something that I want to reference for later, I will transfer it over to these collections so that it's easy to find. It is one column for the date, one column for the type of note or appointment I'm writing down, and then the actual note itself. And I have one for each of my children. After that, I have my intentions page. It's pretty standard practice to set an intention every time you start a new journal. Because this is started halfway through the year, I reminded myself of the intentions that I set for 2023 at the beginning of the year. And then here is the spot where I set intentions for this particular journal. I tried to use this as a goals page, and there was something about writing down specific goals that really made me hesitate. And so eventually I just kind of asked myself this reflection question, why is it so hard for me to write these down? And I just let it go. I realized putting them kind of on paper was a little bit scary for me. You can read into that however you want, but I just wound up leaving it blank. So then I go into my monthly logs, and I always do a cover page. It's just decorative, truly, and it's a nice starter page. And then I have pretty much been doing the same thing for several years. I will do a traditional style monthly calendar, and then I will have a running list of events. I don't list out the days vertically because, again, if there is more than one event per day, that has always bothered me. I've never really found a way to continue that system and deal with that situation. So probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I started doing this system where I use little signifiers, and I actually put just the bullet or event signifier in the box. And then over here, I list out what that thing actually is, and I don't worry about it being in chronological order. So I get both the big picture view so that I don't lose track of when things are, but also I have the space to have a little bit more detail about what those things are. So it's been really helpful for me to just at a glance look at the 19th if I'm setting up my daily log for that day and say, oh, I have 2 events. And then I come over here and I look at what those 2 events actually are. I have been using this system for years. It really works for the way I think and the way I plan. After my monthly log, I always set up a couple of monthly pages, monthly tasks, and then at least a monthly bills tracker. A habit tracker will pop in and out throughout the year, depending on whether I want to do one or whether I have habits that I want to track. And so obviously in July, I had one going. Monthly tasks are for anything that lives outside of that day. It goes here, and then I just reference this list every day when I set up my daily log to see if there is something that can be done that day and can be migrated to that day. And then it will just get checked off when it happens. And at the end of the month, I look through here and I ask myself, what didn't get done? Is that still valuable to me? Does that still have worth to move into my future month? And so it's nice to have this running task list for the month. Once I get done with the monthly log and my task list and my trackers, I just go right into daily logs. So daily logging could be a whole video in and of itself. You can see I tend to leave my daily logs very, very minimal. I like to pick maybe a fun fountain pen and ink to use that maybe matches whatever theme I chose for my monthly log. But other than that, I just kind of write it down. I think what I will do is probably have a whole video about how I daily log, because that is the absolute workhorse of the bullet journal system. It's just a space for you to write down any thoughts, any tasks, and any events going on that day, and you just leave it by you and add to it throughout the day. So you can see I typically just write the date and then I go. And I don't set up pre-filled space because I never know how much space I'm going to need for my daily logs. I just let it finish and then I set up the next day. Throughout my daily logs, anytime I need a custom list or I have a lot of thoughts, circulating around one particular subject, I will turn the page, and if I need to, I'll create a custom collection. So I had a couple of long time friends coming to visit. It had been a long time since we were together, and so I really wanted to plan their visit, and I had just a lot of, running lists in my head. So I just turned the page and got that out of my brain. Now that this is done and the visit is over, I don't have a use for this collection, so it will just live here and it won't be transferred to any new journal. This is another collection that I had because I was starting my Etsy shop for my calligraphy worksheets, and I needed a space to just kind of get all my ideas out. So you can see they're just kind of mixed in with my daily logs. So I have daily logs here, and then I just needed a list, so I just wrote the list. Then it continues with daily logs. At the end of each month, I sit down and I do a monthly reflection. And you look for any sort of central themes. I also use this space just to, in general, speak to how my month went. And so I do that every month, and it helps me get a clear head for the following month. This page, I didn't wind up doing anything with. I just used some leftover stickers to decorate it. So then here's August. For August is a really interesting month for me because as a teacher, I have very little going on in August, actually. My school year doesn't start until September, and my kids have very busy schedules in July. So even though I don't work July and August, July still winds up being a very busy month for me, and then August winds up being very, very uneventful, which I'm grateful for. So for August, I do tend to try out new things because I'm not so worried about the spacing. So I did a very traditional monthly log here. I just labeled every day vertically, and then I filled in kind of what events happened, if anything. And I really, really enjoy this. I actually wish I could get away with doing this style every month because I really love the idea of going back and seeing kind of what happened that month. But it just doesn't work for me on a regular basis because I have so many things happening. So I really enjoyed August to be able to play around with that. Again, you can tell that my daily logs are pretty minimal. Okay, so near the end of August, it was gearing up for the new school year. So we had just gotten back from a family vacation. The new school year was happening. My kids were about to start school. And so every single year, the August to September transition is the most chaotic time for me and my family. So I decided to sit down and do a mental inventory. I just brain dumped any notes or tasks or anything in my head. And I wound up filling a page and a half with those things. And then I went in with my dot markers and I categorized them. I went through and I color coded each note or task by whatever category it fell under, just so I could kind of see where most of my thoughts were going. And then what I did was I went through and I chose the highest priority items for that moment. It really helped me focus for the transition to the new school year. I highly recommend this process. In fact, I'm probably going to do another one because I'm feeling the same kind of way going into the new calendar year. So then I just continue with my daily logs. This is my August reflection. I added some ephemera here from our family vacation. This was a postcard I got at a stationery store, and the receipt from that store. This collection was something that I needed so frequently that I wound up tabbing it off. This was my teacher schedule for the incoming new year back in September. I needed a place to reference what my schedule was, and I wound up coming back to this a million times. So this is September's cover page. For September, because I am incredibly busy, a few years ago I started an initiative on Instagram called Super Simple September. And essentially it was just my way of giving other people permission to scale back. For some of us, like myself, it was a relief. For some people, they participate because it's a challenge for them to scale back. But I love hosting that every September, and you can find that on my Instagram page if you want to take a look back at previous years. So for September, I simply just used my favorite gel pen and a set of stickers. And I kept it really, really light. I did not use a fountain pen. I just resorted back to the styles of spreads that I know work for me. I didn't try to come up with anything creative or fancy. It looks nice, but that's just because I know what looks nice and I know what works for me. And then I go right into my daily logs. So this is just stickers that I have placed. I actually had the sticker sheet that I used was from Archer and Olive. I believe it's sold out now, but this was a collaboration with an artist, a watercolor artist, and they had day stickers. So every day I would just peel off a sticker and go, and it wound up being such a nice, easy daily setup. And then at the end of the week, I would just kind of go back in and fill in with like whatever stickers I had. But overall, it was a really nice way to take it easy when my life is so busy. So that was the end of September, and I do like to do monthly reflection, but to be honest, between September and October, my life was so busy, I just skipped it. And I don't know, I'm okay with that. It's just real life. So this was my October cover page, October monthly log and events, October tasks and habits, and then daily logs. I smudged a little bit of ink there, but that's okay. This day, I'd never even daily logged, so that is so real. And that's it. So you can tell, I mean, October was such a busy and hard month for me that not only did I have such short daily logs because I was so busy, I could barely even put pen to paper. And then the last day of the month, I didn't even like really write anything down, and then I didn't even do a reflection. So you can see that there are moments in my life where I try to hold on to my routines and rituals, but you know, life gets in the way and I just choose to prioritize moving forward instead of looking back. Here was November's cover page, November's monthly. I loved this one. I loved the stickers and the washi tape that I used. It was kind of like a type theme. And then my daily logs. One of my favorite parts of this system is that if I need something, I just create it and get it out of my brain. Thanksgiving schedule. I always like to go out for Black Friday and make a list of things to look out for, but this year I actually got sick, so I never even went out. So then we go into December. I did like a holiday postage theme, kind of a letters to Santa vibe. Same exact monthly layout that I always use. What works for me, I just stick with. But I'll be honest, it's taken me, 7 years of bullet journaling to figure that out and be okay with just moving forward with things that I know work for me. Oh, RIP to the daily log decorations that I thought I was going to do, because I quickly said no thank you and just kept it very minimal. And then we come to today. So as you can see, like, this is my list for today. I have not set up any pages in advance. It's just all blank space for me to use freely. I've gone ahead and start thinking about intentions and goal setting for 2024. I just kind of put that back here. So I always have a pen test in the back of each journal. And then throughout the year, I'll just like add stickers. I put a picture of my kids. And then in here, you know, sometimes I put stickers in there. This, what do I have? Do I have like a coupon? Yeah, I have like a coupon I cut out. So that is my journal. I rarely ever show my actual pages on Instagram. I may, you know, show a daily log here or there, but that's probably the first time that I really flipped through a journal in years. And that, I will be honest, is why I wanted to start this YouTube channel. I missed sharing more about my journal. So I really hope that my audience over here, you know, can enjoy that. So thanks for watching. And as always, if you have comments or questions or ideas for future videos, let me know down in the comments.